more. Said I've had my fun. If I can't get well no more, my health is failing me, Lord, and I'm going down slow. Want you to ride my mother, tell her the shape I'm in. Want you to ride my mother, tell her the shape I'm in. Tell her to pray for me, forgiveness for my sin. Don't you call me no doctor, doctor can do me no good. Don't you call me no doctor, doctor can do me no good. It's all my fault, 'cause I did not do the things I should. You can look for my clothes on. Yeah, on the next train south, Mom. You can look for my clothes on. And if you don't see my body, all you can do is moan. Don't you worry, Mama, this is all in my prayer. Now don't you worry, Mama, this is all in my prayer. You got a son lost out in the world somewhere. I've had my fun. If I can't get well no more, yeah, I've had my fun. If I can't get well no more, my health is failing me, Lord, and I'm going down slow. Hi fellow pickers, and welcome to my lesson on my version of Going Down Slow by Jimmy Oden. We're in drop D tuning. That means we don't have a low E string but a low D string, and you have to tune your E string down a whole step to get this note here. The rest is the same as standard tuning. Okay, let's start with the central lick of this piece. This starts in bar number 5. And sounds like that. Okay, so we start with this chord shape. This is an A7th model. That means this is neither minor nor major. And we start with open A string and a fast slide from 3 to 5 on the B string. Then we start playing triplets. Triplet is when you divide a note into 3 equal notes, and the first triplet is open A string and then E and B string. The next triplet has this grace note at the beginning. So a fast slide from 3 to 5 on the B string, together with this A bass note, and again first and second string. And the last triplet of this first bar is a fast fast pull off from 5 to 3, and then 5 on G string and D string. You could also play an open G note instead of the 5th fret of the D string, so like that, or even like that. So this is 3 possibilities that we have. And then we have this long A chord, and then this A7. This is the central lick that recurs throughout the whole song. Now that we have discussed this central lick, we can start from the beginning. This piece has a little intro, and this is very similar to the central lick that we just learned. This starts with a triplet that we had in the central lick. So slide from 3 to 5 on the B string, and then E string and B string. So we have the same chord shape. And then we do this and repeat the first triplet before we come to 4 16th notes, starting with this note here, little fast pull off from 5 to 3 on the B string, and then a C on the 5th fret of the G string, A and G. Or again, you can play it like that. Okay, so this is so these 16th notes are a little faster than the triplets, and then we have hammering from 0 to 2 on the G string, then the long A shape and the A7th again. And this little intro should not be played rhythmically like a drummer would play it, but you can use a little rubato in there. That means you have kind of freedom in terms of tempo to change the tempo from fast to a little slower and getting faster again, just how you feel. Example like that, but that's up to your taste. Okay, so that's the little intro. Okay, let's come to the first solo, which begins in bar number 3. Before we come to the first verse, this starts with this D9th chord, which is a 4th fret on the D string, and then 5 on the G string and 5 on the B string. I play 4 note chords with thumb, index, middle and ring finger. I know that many players don't use their ring fingers. Then just take these 2 fingers, index and middle, and kind of brush over these 3 strings. Okay? I prefer to play with the ring finger, and we have a back and forth of this D9th chord, and just before we move to the 3rd position, I play this muted note here on the D string, just to bring some percussion in between. This would be how it sounds without this note, and with the note sounds like that. These are little details that sometimes are a little important, okay? You could also play it like I just did as an open D string very discreetly. Okay, and then at the end when we came back to this chord, again we have the open D string, also played very discreetly before we come to this triplet here. So a hammering from 3 to 4 on the low string and the D string open. You could also play it with a slide, that's up to your taste. Same D9th shape in the next bar, and then again 3 very discreet open strings before we come to this D7th shape, which is a 4th fret of the D string, then 5 on the G string and 3 on the B string. Again this open D string very discreetly before we come to this D7th shape. This is the pinky on the 4th fret of the G string, the 2nd fret of the G string and the 1st fret of the B string. And then we have our central lick that we learned before. Then we come back, and this time I play this back and forth of the D9th a little different. I use a chop here for the 3rd position, and again we have this triplet here, and all the rest is the same. As above. Okay, the solo from the beginning. Okay, and now we have this E7th shape. We need the 2nd fret of the low string, then the 2nd fret of the D string, 1st fret or open, because this is a trill on the G string, and the pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, and then we have these 3 chords that we used before, the D9th, played as a triplet, then this D7, again played as a triplet, and then this D7th, before we come back to the lick. So this is okay. The whole thing. into the first verse. Okay, solo number 2 starts with this triplet. So open D and open low D, then a hammering on the G string from 0 to 4 and a second fret of the G string. The next triplet begins with a pull off from 5 to 4 and a third fret of the G string. And then we have this second fret of the G string. And at the end I have this brushing of the index finger over 2 strings, so that the G string and the D string. Then we have the D9th again, and we play these 3 equal triplets, beginning with a slide from the 3rd position to the 4th position, and we repeat this D9th again. So 3 times the same thing, okay? Something very similar to the central lick. So this is just these 2 notes. We start with a slide again, and then we end up in this A chord, which is 5th fret of B string and E string. This is the first line of the 2nd solo. Okay, the next 4 bars start with the D9th chord, and this time we have 1 more note in it, the 5th fret of the A string, and it's the same back and forth, but this time I use chops. So the first one is this downward chop, and this is an upward chop, or strumming with the thumb, with the nail of the thumb, like that. And the last note of this bar is a little brushing with the index finger over G string and D string. In the next bar we have this D7th position, so a small bar over the 5th fret and a 7th fret on the B string. And we have an additional note at the beginning, which is the 8th fret of the 1st string. Here we release the same thing, and then we start to play this line. This starts with an open A string, and then 3 to 5 slide on the B string, then open A again, 3 and 5 on the E string, then a slide to 8, come back to 5, open A again, and then 3 on the E string and 4 on the B string. Then we play slide downward with the index finger from 3 to 1 on the B string, and a second fret of the G string. The next triplet is this open D string, hammering to 2, and the open G string. Then we have a second fret of the G string, a bended D note on the third fret of the second string, and then we release the note and we don't need the touch of the right hand. It comes from alone in combination with the next bass note, and then 1 on the B string and 2 on the G string. So the whole line is okay. And now from bar number 31. The rest of this second solo is the same as the last 4 bars of the first solo. Okay, then let's play solo number 2 from the beginning. Okay, let's have a final look at the verses. I used the same chord shapes as I used in the solo. The only difference is that I use more chops. These kinds of patterns, if you want to play the same as I've written down, it's okay, but you can also design your own patterns, your own rhythm. Whether you use chops or not, that's really up to your taste. So I start with a 4-finger chord, then I have this first chop before I come back here to the 4th position with only the 3 fingers. I use the same triplet here that we all know. This is the second kind of pattern that I use, and all the rest is the central lick thing here. Okay, I've had my fun. If I can't get well no more, said I've had my fun. If I can't get well no more. I'm going down slow. Okay, that was my lesson on my version of Going Down Slow by Jimmy Olin. I hope you have fun learning this song. I hope you find this helpful, and I hope I see you again soon for another lesson. In the meantime, as always, thank you for watching, bye bye, and have fun.